It's a brand new season full of new players, new friendly faces, and that I'm not just talking about Divine League, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the Divine League broadcast team. Everybody in Twitch chat, everybody watching at home, please give a warm welcome to our two new casters fresh off their run doing Dominate. It's Spooky Mars and Dobbymon. Gentlemen, we're very excited to have you here, and we certainly have a big-time matchup for you both, covering two squads, Spooky Mars. You two are very familiar with also making a step up.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of an understatement, Slayer. We love Soulbert and Death Cards here in the first match, the first week of Divine here. I think we were talking about it just before we went live here. These are two teams that have won in Dominate. So right off the bat, we are just getting into a clash of champions. What better way is there to start a season?
There really is no better way, to be honest with you. And the best part, honestly, Dobbymon, is that these rosters, obviously there's one player that has the hearts of a lot of Risen people, but both these rosters kind of holding the similar players together, that synergy keeping up as they move up to Divine as well.
Yeah, Soulbert back at it again, this time not in Dominate, here in the Divine League, bringing up his entire starting roster from the last split over the summer. Here we're going into the fall. But just like him, we had to move on up, do bigger and better things, and what better way to welcome him into Divine than his favorite casting duo who loves to make sure that he is not without fault.
Yeah, it's the old adage, right? Like, friends will give you compliments, true friends will make sure to flame you and let you know when you're messing up most. And that might be what happens on the cast tonight once we get into game. But, you know, these two certainly might take a little bit of a chunk out of Soulbert and his squad. But I don't think you guys will be doing it in the predictions, as we do throw up our first ever, like, I believe we have six. We might not have six full producers right now or predictions right now, but we certainly have more than we did last split. And we're only up to 4, but as you can see, Spooky and Dobby, you guys are confident in We Love Soulbert squad, and I am leaning a bit more towards the death cards. Regardless, I want to hear each of you kind of give your reasoning, Dobby, why you think the Soulbert squad will take this one over the death cards.
So I think I'm pretty good in the middle ground with a 2-1 leading the Soulbert way. I think they have a pretty difficult road ahead of them in the competition they're playing against with the death guards, but Soulbert's team, fresh off of a Dominate play here in the summer, full roster moving together. It's only been about 3 weeks and they've been practicing. So I think the fact that they've got a lot more games together as a squad's going to hold true for them going to this. I think it'll be close, but a 2-1 going in the favor of Soulbert.
And Spooky, you're even more confident in this We Love Soulbert roster.
Listen, Slayer, my methodology is very simple, all right? I go to the prediction sheet, and I see a lot of votes for death cards. And I see Dobby is predicting a 2-1, still not fully in favor of Soulbert. Me, I got confidence, all right? You can all bet against Soulbert all you want. I'm putting all my money on them. How much did we stake on this, by the way? How much money is this?
50,000. No, I'm kidding. No, there's no money stakes with the caster predictions. It is all for confidence, I guess, and you know, maybe seeing who is the better out of the casters across Divide. It's funny though, Spooky. That's kind of the same logic I was running with against Gordo, who will be a part of Divine. But there was like a 3-week stretch where I went, all right, let me look on the sheet here. Gordo's predicting this. All right, I'm going to predict opposite him just because I wanted to try and catch him in the standings. I'm sure you two will get up to some hijinks there once the season goes on. We see who's leading those statistics. We are, though, here to watch some games. And as you can see, we are in the draft lobby for game number 1. SDC, the Death Cards, Dobbymon starting on the blue side, which really feels like the more powerful side in the current meta just because of how many B1 picks are so strong right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good B1 picks here, but I think if you're on the side of Soulbert, you're going to try and want to force that Kaisa just because it's his most comfortable champion. And I don't know how well he's going to do on the Ashe, which I think is also a very strong blue 1 pick. So we'll see how Death Cards here play against it. If they focus him out, maybe they'll win through their bot lane. But there are a lot of good prios. I think Red Side's extremely strong because you can get those counter picks. And a lot of things that are prio picked are very good to be beaten against. For example, J4 is running solo queue right now, but as we all know, Poppy makes J4 cry. So which I would love to see how well this draft goes. But yeah, like getting Soulbert on his carry, definitely the key to victory for that team.
And it looks like we already had a little bit of a graphic switch up. It's actually, we love Soulbert on the blue side, so it's now been swapped here. But Spooky, I know you got to step in and look at, the Champions League broadcast we had last night. I'm curious, what sort of champions that you saw from yesterday from those big-time squads like CCG do you think could also be prioritized to kick off Divine?
Meta is always one thing, but I've always been a big proponent of the comfort picks. I believe comfort is always king when it comes to these kinds of smaller, more contained metas. So I do still tend to possibly favor seeing this Kaisa picked up or the Poppy, because we have seen Soulbert pay some mind to that Poppy pick before that Dobby was talking about, whether it be banning it away from their enemies or trying to snap pick it when they think it looks good for themselves. It's always been a pick that they've been very happy to go towards, and I'd like to see them continue that trend.
Well, both of you aren't going to get to see either Poppy or J4. They're actually the first two bans of our draft here.
Yeah.
Soulbert going to take away the Poppy. J4 is going to be taken away by the Death Cards, who was kind of like the god tier jungler. I can't remember if he is still now. He's either getting nerfed next patch or is currently somewhat nerfed.
Yep, he's getting that nerf on. He's getting that nerf in this upcoming patch. With Soulbert's team getting rid of that Poppy right off the bat, it forces Death Card to getting into J4 because you can't leave that open. So very good two first bans there, and you see Soulbert prioritizing that Rel. Really strong. This is definitely a blue one priority pick support. However, it left over the Alistar, and I think this is a very good counter into Rel. Milio just got a buff recently in the last two patches, which has always been typically good into these engage style champions. So excited to see what Death Card here sees as their answer.
Also have the Maokai up. I know it's the jungler. You can flex its support, but can disrupt a Rel. Cassante is going to be the R1 answer, though, for the Death Cards here. So I'm sure if I look in Twitch chat at some point during this game, I'm going to see the stupid copy pasta. But so, Bookie, there's a reason why that copy pasta is so popular, how just diverse of a champion Cassante really is.
He's very diverse, but we've seen time and time again that picking him this early can be a bit of a risky move. He is susceptible to those counter picks, and none of them have been banned away from the side of Soulbert right now. So picking it up in your top two slots here, it's either a lot of confidence coming from the side of Death Cards, or they just don't expect that Soulbert will be willing to pick up their own top laner in their top three. But looking at the Graves and Cassante pickup here, there's really no reason that Soulbert shouldn't just go ahead and snap lock maybe a Gwen or something, which we've seen kind of run rampant over the Cassante in the past.
Graves is certainly a big-time pick for Lexus. You're kind of putting yourself on the carry shoes, right? That's a big call to make early in the draft. And well, what does the response look like from We Love Soulbert? Just some more real big mobility. Ari is just a really versatile champion in that mid lane, Dobby, but I feel like this B3 can really tell exactly what Soulbert want to go for with this comp.
Yeah, if they want the tried and true jungle mid synergy, grabbing a Vi here isn't bad, but I would love to see Malphite. Ezreal isn't okay. It's a safe pick. It doesn't really synergize that super well with the Rel, but they're trying to create space into this team. I think Malphite would have been perfect. You see the two ADs already coming in. You need a tankier top lane if you're not going to go for that true damage abilities to counter the Cassante. Plus, Death Card still has to grab an AD carry. Having those three physical damage champions while having a Malphite on your team, extremely strong ability here. But yeah, Lexus wants to grab that Graves. He wants to be able to carry, and DC grabbing the Kaisa has been nerfed with that static Shiv nerf. So it'll be interesting to see if they go the AP build here.
Will be very intriguing. Now we're getting into those next couple of bans. This is really just going to be a lot of solo lane priority, I would assume. Fiora already taken away from We Love Soulbert's side, and there's the Alistar actually. That's a really smart ban, Spooky, because of what Dobby was talking about. Easy counter to Rel, take it off the board.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of that last night in the champion division, the Alistar being picked up. Now, it didn't have, the best performance, but we did see how effective it was in the lane itself at stopping the engages from Rel. So taking it off the board here really opens a lot of aggression up for the side of We Love Soulbert, but also just makes them a lot safer as well. They no longer have to worry about, okay, are we going to get counter initiated on? Are they going to start the fight themselves? Simplify the equation, which is really important because they've also lost access to this Kaisa, which, Dobby, you mentioned was a big comfort pick for Soulbert here.
Yeah, but it looks like Soulbert didn't want the Kaisa, wanted the Ezreal. Being able to self-peel is extremely strong. Getting rid of that Syndra as well opens up for that Ahri, and playing against the Jace, having that ranged ability and the space that you can provide with the Essence Flux and the Spirit Rush on the side of there. So you have a lot of ability to get away from the Jace all-in potential, and you're able to peel back a lot, and as long as you can utilize the Rel to re-engage. So far, it's looking pretty good for the side of Soulbert.
It'll be really intriguing to see if this Kaisa now does stick to that AP build, if they want to play poke style with those Void Seekers. I know it's been nerfed a little bit more the AP style, like you're talking about, Dabbymon, but Jace, Jace empowered Qs raining down from that range form, and Void Seekers continuously coming up on cooldown can really brunt a fight. But I like this pickup from Soulbert. They are realizing that they're going to have the frontline advantage. Whenever you shove a Jace into any sort of composition, you lose a lot of frontline value for team fighting. And Soulbert are going to jump on that and just immediately pick up the Ornn for the scaling, for the front line. The 5v5 looking a lot scarier if you are a Death Cards fan right now.
Yeah, it's really great to have that Ornn because you do have that scaling bot lane. Like I said earlier, I would have loved to see the Malphite, especially after that Jace lock-in, because then the only thing you have to worry about is Kaisa, and Abyssal Mass third item on Malphite is meta. It's really good about synergizing with your AP and any other magic damage that you can have. And it just provides a beefier frontline. And while Ornn can do the same thing, the ultimate is a little bit more skill oriented, and Malphite's just a giant rock that sits in your face.
Simple enough, right? But here's a R5 that I haven't ever seen. It feels weird that we're getting an R5 support, but I do like the pick, Spooky, because if you can't get Alistar, Braum is pretty high up there in the peel department in the support role as well.
Yeah, great peel, great at stopping the engages. Try to come in on him, throws a door in your face, few more hits, you're stunned, and that's all just pre-6. The ability to just intercept the projectiles coming towards you, I think, is really integral to this lane, because what is Ezreal but a massive poke champion who's trying to just consistently jab at you with all the mystic shots? You put yourself between them and block that damage, put yourself in a lot better position during any fights that try to come through. I think it was a very smart round 5 pickup for the side of Death Cards.
A lot of smart pickups coming across so far. Now we have a bit more of an identity to both of these teams. It feels like if you are the Death Cards, it's weird, right? Because Jace is always a champion I feel like you want to kind of spike into the mid game with and play maybe around not 5v5 anything. But you do have the Graves, you do have the Cassante, and on the other side, We Love Soulbert. I mean, they're just playing outside of maybe the Ezreal, but the Ornn optimizations help him out scale. They're just playing for brawling, Viego resets. They want this game to go long, Dobby, and they will certainly succeed in a lot of metrics if it does.
Yeah, Soulbert, like you said, definitely wants the team fight a lot. And I think forcing those fights as much as possible, making sure that Shredman on Death Cards has to constantly be there and not able to split push. And then Starry on the Cassante as well, also having to force them in there. And that's where I think Death Card is going to lack a lot, but they do have a really good answer with that Braum. It will stop that Viego all in, and as long as they're able to burst them before a reset comes off, I think Death Card can win the fight. But as WLS is initiating, then Death Card has to be ready at all times. Even with that Braum, you're still susceptible to being bursted. That unstoppable force, unstoppable will only work so much.
Certainly, right? And it does look, as we get into the client side champion select, we can confirm here that we don't have any substitutes. So that's nice to see. Week 1 can be really hectic in a lot of leagues I've casted. You usually have guys, especially going into summer and coming out of summer with people going back to school, it can get really hectic and you have substitutes playing. But it's nice to see 10 players that were all in that starting lineup. But now that we're in the client side draft, I want to ask you guys, obviously you've seen a good amount of these teams, and now it may be a different meta. It has been a little bit since you've watched them, but is anything from this draft really kind of a staple of We Love Soulbert or S Death cards, Spooky Mars?
Oh, you're looking to me for the stats. Listen, if you want the
Starting with
player
you.
strategies, that's my man Dobby. That he's got everything up in the head. We've seen this Ezreal more than a couple times from Soulbert, of course. This is in his repertoire. It's no surprise that he's gone back to it and passed over that Kaisa. Of course, Rel, always standard over here. It's more of the same from We Love Soulbert, but really, what else can we expect? It's week one. You don't want to show too much of your hand. You want to go ahead and play a lot of the cards that people have seen before, see how they stack against the competition before you start drawing and adding more to what you've got.
All right, well, Spooky stacked up the stats man himself, Dobby. So, Dobby, the same question your way. Is there anything similar you've seen from a lot of the games you've watched prior from the Death cards and We Love Soulbert?
Yeah, so Soulbert here is definitely the weak side top, putting on the carry jungle with some jungle and mid synergy here, trying to play around that jungle proximity in the mid lane, keeping Soulbert on a safe and farming bot and getting that support to roam. I think that's going to be the standard strategy we see coming out of them. Death cards definitely is going to look to try, and they're definitely playing to be gauged on and then re-engage with that Braum Kaisa. As much as Death Cards doesn't want a team fight, they are a pick potential team and can burst out anyone, probably except that Ornn. And just being able to utilize that Cassante ultimate to isolate, that's where the Kaisa will excel, come in, do the burst damage. Especially if she's the AP, that passive stack is definitely going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, Casante's certainly looking to go all out, and you two get to see some of the quirks that we have on the Vine League broadcast that help us go all out in some of these stats departments. We're now running through the runes here. We'll make sure to run through all the rune choices for all these matchups. And it's a grass fight in the top lane, Spooky. Kind of what you expect, though.
Yeah, this is personally my favorite rune up in the top lane. Just fight a little bit, smack each other, get some healing, get some max health. Not likely to see a whole lot of actual kills coming through up there unless we see some big rotations coming from those junglers. At least not until level 6. That's where Cassante starts to come online a little bit more. But looking at his competition, Ornn, that's a tough cookie to break there in the top lane solo.
Ornn is known as that champion that, thinks is a tank that weak sides, and then all of a sudden you're getting knocked up twice. Some of that, the fiery breath, that's a stupid amount of damage down. Got to be careful with any Ornn in lane. And get a look at these jungle runes. PTA on Viego, Dobby, I feel like there's a couple ways you can go with the main rune on Viego. PTA going to really signify his single target burst damage.
Yeah, he's definitely going to look and try and invade here as much as possible. He's a very fast clear jungler. His waves should have prio, at least in the early game, allowing him to go onto that Graves. But on the inverse side, you see Graves. He's about sustain. He wants to stay in that jungle as long as possible. And with that fleet of footwork, he's going to be able to trade very well, especially early, because he's going to be able to stay alive just a little bit longer. I suspect he'll also go the green jungle start item just so he can stay there longer as well.
Always sneaky, the Graves, those extra armor stacks on some of his passives, and like you talked about, that green pet start can help out as well as Electrocute. And I was curious if we were going to see this first strike. It's like a double-edged sword, because you can sometimes fall into running double first strike matchups. You don't run first strike on Ahri very often, but it will show onus for this Jace, trying to get some poke down early, get some of that gold in his pocket to hit that mid-game power spike. I'm really a big fan of running first strike, not on maybe those late-game carries as much, but mid-game power spiking mid laners like the Jace. And bot side, certainly two runes that are intriguing. I will, pull the card out as the Ezreal aficionado. A lot of people know that I am a lover of Ezreal. He has PTA and Conqueror. Yeah, Spooky, you can get as mad as you want, man. It's not going to sway my opinions on the champion.
As long as it's not Yuumi.
Yeah, no, it's not. Don't get me started over there, Dobby. We start having a debate about this. But Conqueror on Ezreal usually signifies wanting to play for big, long, extended late fights. PTA is much more, Dobby, of like an early and single target damage. Conqueror is all about the sustained game.
Yeah, I think that it's very good on the Ezreal because, like you said, it's getting in there. He wants to trade. He wants to do a lot. The presence of mind keeping him in there, and he does want to scale. That's what that transcendence is for with that Ornn. That's what Soulbert needs to do. The longer they go, the stronger he becomes, and as long as he's able to peel well, he'll be good. And with that Halo Blades build, it does look like it's going to be AP Kai'Sa as their answer for their lack of magic damage.
Smart pickup here, and support runes aren't usually the most fun, but and pretty on par spooky, but makes a lot of sense, right? The two we have, the peeler, not the engager running glacial augment, and the guardian for the peeling support.
Yeah, it looks like you said, pretty standard stuff there. Obviously, Rel is just going to make great use of the glacial there. It's a really annoying rune, makes it that much more difficult to get away once she engages. But it is Braum. He's got a lot of peel. Aftershock should help him stay relevant in those fights, put out a little bit more damage as well. I don't know, I still favor Glacial a little bit more there. I think it's going to make things very difficult for this bot lane on the side of Death Cards to actually escape from the extremely powerful engage that Rel has. But there's only really one way to see how that goes.
Exactly. Well, I just say it is weird that Braum is going to be annoyed by ice. You know, he's Freljordian, right? So you'd expect him to be happy with any sort of ice. He'll brush it off. Certainly be fine. We'll have to see, though. I am curious. Spooky threw this question to me yesterday. Objectively not pushing your 2-0 We Love Soulbert agenda, looking at just the draft, how are you feeling about game number 1?
Objectively, by just the draft. Well, see, there's always a little bit of bias because there's just champions I like over on the side of Soulbert. I really like this Ornn. I think it scales very extremely hard into the late game. And with Soulbert taking the Conqueror rune, already kind of playing towards that, I think that Soulbert is very well equipped to move this game into the late portions. And we've seen them get there quite a few times in the past. So the later this game goes, the more I tend to favor Soulbert.
All right, so certainly backing your pick there. Dobby, as much as I want to pick your brain about what you feel about this draft, the game is ready. So you can talk about all of that from Summoner's Rift side, because I'm happy to announce for the first time, and certainly not the last, Spooky Mars and Dobbymon take us away with the opening game of the Divine League split.
Thank you so much, Slayer. And Dobby, well, I think there's only one thing to do. And that actually might be a couple things to do. This is a 5-man group already in the river. Recall starting, not expecting to see too much action, but the movement is stepping forward. Toys in the area, so shouldn't be able to get caught too much here.
Yeah, if anything, we're just looking at a small little skirmish here, just setting up for some early vision. You see Soulbert just going up to that top side just to make sure they're able to track Lexus. I think on the side of Soulbert, they know that Lexus is the carry. He's the one who wants to put the weight of the team on their back, and they're already pinging him out here as we go into this game.
So talk to me a little bit about your preference for these drafts here. Who do you favor? I know Slayer put the question forward here, but we've got a little bit of time before the action really starts to unfold before us. Who are you favoring?
Yeah, so I think I'm still going to have to go with Soulbert just because I think they're going to scale extremely well right here. The Ornn with just being able to get to that level 15, as long as they're not inting away and surviving, they're winning, right?
Right.
Like, they could, as long as they're farming, they don't have to do anything, they're going to win this game, because the later this game goes, the better off they are. As soon as they get that ornaments in, things are going to go good.
Oh, wow. You really went there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're going to have words about that.
But, hey, but it's still gonna be a hard game to fight. We see that in the bot side. They're already trading here.
Exhaust comes through already onto Soulbert. Zeranos has to run away. The Ignite has been used from Toy, so that's one tool down. But similarly, one tool down for Death Cards as well. 2 Summoners off the board.
Yeah, trading Exhaust or Ignite, very worth for Soulbert, because now you're able to just let Soulbert hit you in the face as hard as he wants without any repercussions. And then Zeranos already being at half HP. He's already out all 3 of his health bots here at 3 minutes. It's 450 health. That's what he's carrying right now on his HP bar. So he is having a tough time in this lane, barely staying afloat. Missing the
Nice.
Canyon Minion wave. That's 10 burpees for Zeranos.
10 burpees? What is a burpee?
Oh, it's like a super push-up that makes you cry.
Oh man, oh no, we're not doing any of those. I'm not condemning anybody to that. But hopefully that's just a little bit of a slow start for Death Card. Still plenty of time for them to pull things back. Small engagement over there in the mid lane. Electrocute comes out big, putting the damage onto Shredman. And I think we can see the value of that rune right there. The first strike doesn't quite give him as much of an advantage as the all-in there. I see a collapse. Lexus makes his way out of the jungle. He's okay for now.
Yeah, the first strike wasn't able to do much. And that electrocute popped, burning him out. You see him, Random Capitals is able to crash that wave in there. Lexus unable to do anything. Actually had to burn his ghost to get away from Birdo in that bot side skirmish over Scuttle Crab.
That's not the best usage of summoners. Well, it is good use of summoners, but not exactly what you were hoping to use them for here in the early game. So far, Death Card's been put slightly on the back foot, and that's kind of what they don't want to see here, right? We love Soulbert being a scaling composition. Death Cards needs to find some success in this early game. I think to find aggressive success.
Yeah, and I think Death Card doesn't know what they want to do early at this moment. You see the Braum pushing up there, but he's got nowhere to go. There's no objective up there. He's walking over vision, and you're just making sure that Zeranos is falling behind in that 2v1 bot side. Kaisa is not a safe champion to farm in the 2v1, especially versus Aurel, who excels in going all in. So I think that's just a small little misplay from the side of Death Card here.
We got Rel, who excels in going all in. Xante on the other side excels in going all out. Like, we got everything. All the alls are on the board right now. But it does raise a good point there. Zeranos struggling just a little bit in this spot lane. You can see the prio in favor of We Love Soulbert right now. And as we approach 5.5 minute mark, you got to wonder, where are these junglers going to next? We know that Birdo wants to be a little bit more aggressive, look for some invades, potentially some ganks. Are we already looking towards this dragon here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All that prio that Soulbert is pushing up, and the fact that the DC here is on their back foot. They have no answer to this push at this moment, and you see Random Capitals going for that roam right now. Unless there's just like some outplay where Random Capitals decides to go for the kill, and then like Lexus is able to sneak it, I really don't see any opportunity for Death Card to just get away with the dragon for free.
It's going to be a tough one for him, but they are pushing up this bot lane. Lexus in the area has not been spotted, but a double stun from Toy should delay any aggression. This is a long sit down the bot lane here. Dobby, I'm not sure if they really have any room to make something happen just yet.
So I think this is good for them. Just trying to get their bot ahead. Just having Lexus there gave them prio. This allows them to freely maneuver all the way up to that dragon. So we'll see. It looks like the side of Soulbert is going for a collapse here.
Yeah, keep an eye on that river. Random Capital's coming in. Does eat the shield. Good interception from Pierce Blade, but he's getting burned down. The Ignite comes through. Now Crushing turns towards Lexus. He's able to find his way out of that one. Once again, Ghost is popped from the jungler. No deaths just yet. 7 minutes in, no first bloods. But some fighting has definitely broken out in the spot lane.
Yeah, but the blinking health bars from the side of Soulbert means that DC can like go for that dragon here. And the fact that they're getting resets on the mid and jungle, if I were Death Card, I would be going for that first dragon right now. They have the prio in the lanes. The only thing they have to worry about is that bot side with 0 summoners, and they haven't backed yet.
But if you see a little bit of positioning in that river there, you can see Lexus and Shredman both around that dragon. Toy on his way up as well, but the dragon is burning a little bit quicker than they can get there. Zeranos not able to assist with that one. Looks like they should be. Oh! First blood snipe from downtown. True Shot Barrage put We Love Soulbert on the boards. The dragon goes the way of death cards.
Yeah, that's a fantastic snipe from Ezreal. The fact that Zeranos didn't have those summoners to get out of the way, absolutely great on the mark there, hitting 6. But you saw Pierce Blade, like he went up there, helped them get the pry on there, keep them away from that. I think that was unnecessary. If he was there cutting that damage, he would have kept Zeranos alive. And now this lead that Ezreal is gaining is now over 600 gold. It's starting to turn into a large lead, and the cross-map play from Soulbert to secure this Rift Herald is on the board.
Yeah, Soulbert currently leads by just under 1,000 gold, split across 5 people, most of it going the way of Soulbert, like you said. So there's not doom and gloom across the map just yet. It does give some signs to death cards. Maybe they need to pay a little bit more mind down to that bot lane, but can you pay more mind to this Ezreal? He's so slippery, so easy to get away from the aggression. How much time can death cards really spend trying to put him down?
Well, I think you're not going to be able to put him down. He's got both his summoners up. He still has his S influx. And you see that this roam is coming bot side. I really do. 4-man, 2 people, no summoners. They're only Kai'Sa's the level 6. I think they're going to go for a dive here. And they're setting everything up. They're getting that prior. They're securing the jungle in that bot side quadrant. They're placing vision. Everything screams Zeranos is dying.
Oh, looks like they're going to settle for just the blue buff here. Bug back off down to the mid lane. Not interested in making the dive just yet. Just trying to keep Lexus a little bit behind. It's like you mentioned, Dobby. They've recognized Lexus as a big win condition for death cards. It seems they're prioritizing keeping his farm away from him a little bit more than trying to put down Zeranos.
Yeah, but they see Lexus right now, and I think that's going to be the green light for them to move bot side. They know it's going to be a 4v2 instead of a 4v3, so the risk of trading is a lot lower. But now at this point, Inmate's going to have to peel back a little bit so he's not isolated and going for that 1v2, but he is Ornn with a Sunfire. He is a pretty beefy boy, so his risk of death there, not so hard.
An Inmate in the Ornn prison. Here comes the dive you were talking about. True Shot Barrage. A little bit off the mark, but that doesn't matter. Zeranos goes down to the random capitals. Pierce Blade next to fall. It's a double kill now for the random capitals. And Shredman will be able to get away with his life. Burns the teleport. No more aggression. Keep an eye on that river. Lexus still in the area. Decides to back off.
Yeah, really good foresight there. Like I said, as soon as they saw Lexus, they went for it. Being able to burn out that TP, really good for that Shredman. A little late there. I think if he TPs sooner, it might back them off that play. But once they've committed, Soulbert pulled the trigger and made sure that that bot lane was punished. And Zeranos falling further behind while getting those 2 kills on the random capitals just makes this Soulbert squad a lot better here at 11 minutes.
And tragic, the Pierce Blade was still only level 5 when that occurred. Maybe if he has the ultimate available there, he's able to turn things around, but not being able to counter-initiate on the dive from Soulbert really just opened everything up for them. Perhaps that was why Shredman decided to wait a little bit longer, hoping they could lure them in and hit that level 6.
Yeah,
so far,
I think
it's 3-0.
Yeah, I think the biggest story here is that Pierce Blade's constant roaming and getting nothing out of it has kept him and Zeranos behind. And the fact that they're constantly behind means he doesn't have that level 6 to stop that engage. And if he were, you're right, he might have lived. But we see Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. Next big objective here. The teams are going to be setting up for it. The first item buy spikes are coming out for the rest of both sides of the teams here. So we'll see how well this goes, but I think there's going to be a nice fight. We're going to see the Dragon. I think with the fact that like there is a level advantage, you got a small item advantage as well on the side of Soulbert. I think as long as they're there first, they're going to be able to not only secure some kills, but secure that Dragon as well.
I hope we see a nicer fight than Cassante v Ornn. That slap fight's not doing anything up in top.
Yeah, is there a top lane this game?
Yeah, top lane is doing something. They're pretending to be on the map.
They're playing their own game.
Dropped here in the mid lane. It's going to put some pressure over on that tier 1. Lexus being aggressed on does find the dash out. He's okay for now. I'd have to be mindful of these mists. Blade and Shredman stepping forward. Shred trying to find a little bit of aggression to stun immediately onto Starry. He's a Kasante, no damage just yet. Big engage comes through. Here comes the horns. Hits 2, hits 3, and Birdo finds the first kill. Shredman trades the supports 1 for 1 there, but the fight is not nearly over. Double kill for the Viego. It's a reset, and now a 4v3 around the dragon. Death card's not looking so good. Lexus half health. Shouldn't have too much of a contention around this dragon anymore.
Yeah, they need to be careful. It's still 4v3. If they take any fight here, it's going to be bad.
Lexus has gone over the wall into 4. He is just dead now. The ocean brings life, but Soulbert brings death as a killing spree for Birdo.
Yeah, as soon as he used the Z to hop over there, he had no way to escape again. So he was just free food for the side of Soulbert. But you saw, as soon as they recognized that they were caught off and split like that, they had no ability, and the full all-in based off of Toy and Inmate being able to isolate Pierceblade and Starry, securing the teamfight win for them. We're up 3.5k gold. The second rift is about to spawn. There's just a lot of things going in the way of Soulbert, and I think right now, if you're Death Card, you got to stem the bleeding. You don't want this scaling team to scale faster than it should. So just stop taking team fights, give up the objectives, try and hit that power spike that you need in order to win these team fights later on in the game.
How do they slow this down, really? I mean, Soulbert has been the aggressors consistently through this match, diving tier 1 towers, starting the fights around the dragons. They've been looking to scrap, and now looking towards this Herald. Death Cards just give it up. It looks like they may be gonna go ahead and just try to trade out this tier 1. Redman takes his time, gets rid of a ward. Breeze still coming down from Soulbert, just pushing them off, and it looks like they get nothing for the Herald.
Yeah, they were gonna have to give it away. There was so much pride on the side of Soulbert. I think if you're Death Card though, you just need to overload one side of the map with champions and try and get these objective bounties out. And if you're able to rotate effectively, you're going to be able to get a pick or two, hopefully bringing you back in. If you're able to claw your way back, you can, as long as the gold is going on the right person. Obviously, you don't want 5 kills going to Braum, but any amount of gold will help them. Yeah, Braum, 80 carry. He's going to build Static Shiv and do all the damage.
Listen, I've seen Braum mid before, so, and you know what, it worked too. So you never know what might happen in the games.
If Light Rocket can be a Taric one-trick jungle, then anyone can be a Braum one-trick jungle. You just power stack those concussive blows and you'll be fine.
A little bit more aggression over here in the mid lane. You just look at this tier 1. Oh, Shredman tries to force them back. He just gets killed for it. It's a slaughter. Lexus does find one. It's still just the support going down again in the mid lane. Not a worthwhile trade for Death Card, I'd say.
No, absolutely not. Shredman losing that experience, losing that gold, not being there to grab those CS. You're just getting further and further behind.
Well, Ornn may be finally falling here in the top lane. No, never mind. He's good. It's an Ornn. Just burns the flash, hits him with the ult. He's good. Man, these guys just don't die.
the tank assassin surviving in the top lane right there. But with how low this mid lane turret is, like, it's literally like the wolf is blowing on a hay house. It's gonna fall down in the next wave here. And we also have to be very careful because the side waves are going down, or are available to be taken as well. We have Dragon coming up in a minute 30. And right now, there's no prio or coming from the side of Death Card. So being able to push for Vision in any quadrant to save your base is going to be a difficult task. And it doesn't look like they're playing the team game right now either. We have Graves going top side. There's nothing else in his top side jungle to really take. You see here with hindsight, there's nothing happening except the Gromp spawn on the blue side quadrant top as well.
He lost that Gromp.
Yeah, but Gromp for Dragon, if I'm Soulbert, I'm taking it.
Well, We'll have to see if they do go for it. You can see they're all on the side of that bot lane there. Soulbert's in position. Was able to poke out Shredman a little bit up in that mid lane. Gives him a little bit of priority around that objective, but still, they want this tower first. Get a little bit more gold in their pockets. And with that going down, it opens up the map a lot for Soulbert now. So much of the map. They can now just roam around a little bit more easily. Plant a few deeper wards. This is going to be a tough dragon, I think. Does Death Cards even look to defend this one? It's only the second dragon for Soulbert. It's not going to end the game, but it is just one more notch in their belt.
If I'm Death Cards, I'm gonna try and do what they're doing right now, overloading this side of the map, trying to do it. I don't think they're gonna kill the Ornn, but I think being able to apply this pressure. Okay, that was.
Oh wow, just knocking him through the wall. Oh man, he is actually still taking some damage. Shoe Shot Barrage doesn't quite connect. That's 2 ultimates down for We Love Soulbert. And it does still keep them with a tower and the dragon going down as well.
That's the story of Death Card this game. They have the thought, they have the plan, it's just the execution's not there. Starry was too far away to get him to pop over the side of the wall there, misunderstanding the range that he needs to execute there. And because there's 3 top, they overloaded, they weren't able to get any net positive play. So it's just a free dragon. Yes, it is only the second dragon, so it's not too bad. But just dragon stacking in itself. And the last thing you want to do is play against the Viego with Ocean Soul.
Yeah, so oh man, the smite comes through. Berto just steals that one away. Now, 19.5 minutes into this game, Soulbert leading by a little over 4,000 gold right now. Things are starting to look like they're slipping away from Death Cards. We haven't seen them even make a neutral play on the map so far. They've made the attempts. They've tried to trade out objectives where they can. But every single time, Soulbert is just putting up enough resistance to stop them from really getting anything. And it's this slow grind. This seems to be just choking the Death Cards out right now. And it feels like only a matter of time before something just triggers an explosion and Soulbert starts running a little bit more rampant with this game. What do the Death Cards do to stop that from happening?
I don't know what they can do. They tried to overload a side, it didn't work out. They mis-executed there. So now Starry's out his flash. And you also have to worry about the Baron being up, the dragon stacking. There's just so much that they cannot control because they don't have any vision, they don't have any prio, they don't even have a tier 1 turret yet. And they have no ability to do anything except survive. I think if you're Death Card, I think what you have to do is go bot, push in as hard as you can, and give up the Baron. If you give up that Baron, yes, it's sad. But the free objective bounty gold that you can get from that tier 1, tier 2 bot while you're losing that Baron, I think will be a good play for them overall, just because what they're doing right now is just being strangled. They're just waiting to die, and no one wants to play that game. And this is also mentally taxing for the side of Death Card. Like, how they see the strength of this roster and how well they play together. How is game 2 gonna go? And they got to start thinking of answers now because it doesn't look favorable for them.
Now let's talk for just a moment here about levels a little bit. Soulbert, around a level and a half up on Zeranos, but that's not really the most important one. The most important level is Ornn, inmate, now level 13, has those upgraded items online. Evan might have to take a break from that here as a teleport comes in. Inmate coming back to this fight. Pierce Blade left stranded. The Ram comes through, smacks down one, and no longer is Shredman in this world. Sorry, still looking. Maybe put up a defense here. Nah, Alexis also in the area. Zeranos coming back from base. Sorry is the front line. There's not nearly enough damage to dissuade them. It looks like they're calling that off.
Yeah. But they're doing what they need to do right now. They're trying to get that objective bounty, at least in that mid turret. Anything to get some gold back in their pockets.
Can't get it, can they? Oh, they might.
Yeah, I think that Demolish really did what they needed to do, but I think they're going to pay with it for their lives right now.
Yeah, Alexis is the target, does find a blink dash, not enough, he gets taken down by Toy, the Ignite is too strong. Now Starry left in no man's land, and Birdo is simply unstoppable on this Viego. Two more fall, 10-2, gold lead ballooning in favor of Soulbert. Now with the Baron around their waists, this looks tough for the death cards.
Yeah, they just need to go to 1-3-1 on Soulbert, get that prio in that bot side quadrant, and then make sure that they're able to get the Dragon Soul, or at least the next dragon out of it. I think they're going to have a lot of priority here. I think they're going to close out the game relatively soon. They're starting to balloon away with this gold lead. They're taking all these objectives. There's no answer on the side of Death Card. And there's just not a lot that they can do to stop this game from happening. And realistically, how are they going to do it? The Static Shiv nerf really hampers that entire team's composition, because you just see plated steel caps, full tank on the side of Ornn and Rel, and there's nothing they can do to damage them. Ezreal, hyper mobile. Even if you have the damage, you're not going to catch him.
Yeah. There's a big flank coming in. Random capitals coming up from above. Looks like Birdo has caught them unawares. Charmed comes through and Zeranos is already down. There's a big ultimate coming out from Inmate, and death may be in the cards for SDC. They're falling one by one. It may be a full ace here, and it indeed is a triple kill going the way of Birdo.
Yeah, Birdo just literally doing what Lexus wants to do, which is solo carry this game. The team doing what they need to set him up for success. You saw that amazing flank by Capitals there, being able to secure Zeranos out of that team fight, and as soon as Zeranos was gone, there was no damage coming out of anywhere that could penetrate the front line that was Ornn. And to be fair, the only person dying is Toy. Like, he's a support. That's his job. Keep everyone else alive. And right now, like, as good as Birdo is doing, but like, Toy is definitely making sure everyone can maximize their champion and how they're supposed to be playing.
Yeah, SDC currently has 3 kills. Let's take a quick little look over. Oh, Toy has 3 deaths. He's not allowed anyone else to fall in any of these fights. Sure, SDC gets a kill, but Toy's not really worth that much in the fight. It's not taking away any of their push power. It's not taking away any of their objective-taking power. And frankly, he's probably worth the least amount of gold on the side of We Love Soulbert as well. So every small victory that the death cards are getting hardly even feels like a victory. And now it might be another catch out here, as 2 are caught unaware. Lexus deep in the enemy jungle, caught unaware, all alone. That invade gets no value. Hey, Pierce Blade's alive.
Yeah, right. Pierce Plate, he's alive. Good on him. But like you were saying, like, Toy being the other one to die is really good. Not necessarily worth the least amount. I mean, he is now. There's no. Everyone else has basically a bounty, right? But the fact that he's a pure utility champion, as long as he's getting his ultimate off and popping that locket before he goes out, he is doing everything he needs to do to keep his team in it. And the fact that they're layering all the CC down between what is now the Eternal Winter and not Everfrost, thanks to the ornaments coming in. But like, between that, the Ornn ultimate, just stacking up all the damage with Ezreal, there's just no answer from Death Card of what needs to be done. I think right now, Soulbert, their team needs to reset, push together. They are so much stronger right now, over 11k ahead, and I think any 5v5 they take will be the end of the game team fight.
Yeah, this is what I like to call one of those 99%ers. Once you reach a certain point in the game, you establish a significant lead, which 11,000 gold is significant enough of a lead. It becomes a 99% chance that you're winning this game. Now, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed. There's still that 1% chance. If you make a mistake, and don't fight properly, if you get caught unaware and all by yourself, like we've seen happen to SDC, There's still some fight back potential here, but the levels, the items, so strongly in favor of Soulbert. Now catching out Pierceblade with the charm. He's getting melted down, stunned, has to burn the ult. True Shot Barrage comes through, but it's random capitals with the Foxfire that finishes it off. Now Inmate looking to try to keep this one going. Forces the flash from Shredman, but it's directly into the charm. Birdo is legendary, continuing his killing spree. It's a double kill. They're simply eviscerating the death cards right now. Only 2 left alive, and with one being charmed back, they may not be long for this world. This defense is going to have to be a miraculous one.
Yeah, it's 2v5 right here, and there's a canyon, there's super minions in, and they're just melting these towers.
Towers going down, Zeranos getting melted as well. Back into the fountain he goes, trying to find some healing. Pierceblade comes back up, but it's too little, too late, and the death cards have fallen. We love Soulbert takes 1 game in this best of 3.
Yeah, and they played as near perfect as they possibly could. They only lost 2 objectives, 3 kills, and it's a pretty dominating start to their game and this season.
Hey, look who's back.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Yeah, it's me. Oh God, sorry. I had to go call the paramedics for SDC there.
They didn't arrive.
No, they didn't. They didn't come in time. I don't think really anybody was gonna make it in time to save that game. Wow, what a start for We Love Soulbert, looking like a team that is has been playing at this level for a while. That was complete dismantling, Dabimon. And where do you even look if you are SDC besides just kind of that goldfish mentality of forgetting what just happened?
So if I'm on the side of SDC, you have to goldfish it, right? You can't go into the next game with that negative mindset. Mental is a very big part of this game. And as the higher elo you get, right? Like, you need a strong mental because solo queue was the worst thing. So I think these guys have the fortitude to get through it, but I really think they need to look at Pierceblade. This guy was roaming a lot, getting nothing done, losing the experience lead versus Toy. And really, the turn of the game was that that 4-man dive bot side in which he could not affect the fight at all. The skirmish went super in favor of Soulbert. It allowed random capitals to start snowballing. And Spooky hit the nail on the head earlier. If that Braum was 6, he could have stopped it, making it a turn or negating the dive altogether, allowing them to keep themselves going. But that point in the game, it was Soulbert winning, no doubt about it.
Well, we're going to go over our first replay here, Spooky, and there's not a lot that Zeranos could do with this first blood because Soulbert just showing off the Ezreal tech here, recognizing Summoner's down.
Yeah, I mean, he just walks away from Zeranos, gets out of vision there, so Zeranos can't see him charge it up, bobs the True Shot Barrage, and frankly, Zeranos probably thinking, oh, he's probably going to send that over to the Dragon, not expecting it to come his way. Beautiful shot, beautiful call coming out from Soulbert, and hey, I guess that's why we love him.
Yeah, right, exactly. Those Mystic shot as well to set up that ultimate, very, very good. And yeah, just great recognition from Soulbert. Like you said, it really felt like the stranglehold was on this bot side really early on. Dobby, you obviously touched on it, but it was really just a great job. It's a tough thing to do sometimes, is have a lane that is so far ahead, and the way they carried it into the mid game was excellent.
Yeah, I think there is a point in the game where you just see it go completely in their favor. I want to say it was the first dragon, and it was just an extremely well played out skirmish team fight. Soulbert played it and executed it perfectly, and it looked like Death Card didn't know what they were trying to do at that time.
Yeah, well, you know what? Dogmon, you read my mind there. How about you take us through our second replay? Because it is, in fact, that first Drake fight where we left Soulbert pick up 3.
Yeah, and this shows the power of it. Right here, you see that Soulbert recognizes that they're split. Nexus is away from the fight. Soulbert has him marked, and they pulled the trigger immediately. No hesitation. As soon as they grouped up, you see Toy ult all in, stun them up. The layering the CC down and getting that reset just provided so much utility. We were harping on it in the game. Toy, only person to die all game, doing his job as a support, letting Soulbert's team do what they need to do, and securing this dragon here extremely fast. And at this moment, you see Lexus E over, and then he signed his own death card. no flash, no ult, no ability to leave, and Birdo immediately goes in all in.
Yeah, I like the little pun you threw out there, Dobby signing his own death card. I recognize that, giving your points there regardless. And yeah, you spoke on Birdo. I mean, he had an absolutely stellar performance. I believe he ended up in the game 12-0-5. By the time the Nexus exploded on that, Viego had some superstar performances, but Spooky, they kind of got the snowball rolling pretty fast down the Avalanche, and you got to give credit to them for not really letting up, because this comp wasn't really supposed to peak when it did. And it didn't really matter, because once they got to that later stage and those Orin items came through, it was lights out.
I mean, it wasn't supposed to peak when it did, but when you hit that point early, it just feels all the better for you. It's very hard not to ride that high, and I'm actually very impressed by Soulbert's discipline. A lot of times, when you start snowballing like that, it's easy to get a little goofy, maybe make a couple little mistakes, get a little overly confident and step a little too far forward. We didn't see any of that coming out from Soulbert. Every time they made an aggressive play, it was together. They were acting as a full unit consistently through the map. Now we just have to see them actually continue that trend.
Who knows how high I would have peaked in solo queue if I didn't mess around with leads like that. Well, we'll never know, but we will get to see how this game really just got completely out of hand. Our final replay here is going to be that We Love Soulbert ace right around that familiar Drake pit. And you guys were preaching on it, right? They just set up so well, and you can see the fact that they have no real vision around these flank points, and it's really random capitals just does the entire race. He's Forrest Gump running from Arizona to New Jersey here, and he finally gets to that big ribbon to cut it, and his prize is picking off Zoranos. That's the Kaisa down, and by that point, all the ultimates are flying, and this is what I like to call the slapping your enemy team with your wallet, because they are just up so much gold that despite the fact that maybe they whiff a couple and call the Forge Gods, maybe Soulbert doesn't hit as many Mystic shots, it doesn't end up mattering, because once the resets come out, once those items are really running and rampant, they completely rolled the game here. But they haven't rolled the series, folks. We Love Soulbert start off their Divine League split with a Game 1 win, but they've got to put one more together, or if the Death Cards want to save their perfect record, they're going to have to bite back in game number 2. To see that, you'll have to stick around through this next break, and we'll see you after.